Saturday, higher ground, Melrose Mountain, Tryon, North Carolina, 11 o'clock, and it's 80 degrees. We're expecting a cool front to pass through on Sunday and Monday and should get down into the 70s again. So we're looking forward to the cool down. We're looking at the book of Jude. We said that the first 4 verses were describing the purpose that Jude had and also his wish for the beloved brethren that he had with mercy and grace and love. And now we're looking at the description of these false prophets that he said would be coming. And he starts out by reminding us, if you will, the punishment that lies for unbelievers and false prophets. He talks about what happened to those that were not believers that were delivered from Egypt. He talks about those that were not believers that lived in Sodom and Gomorrah. And he reminds us of the punishment of the fallen angels. And so he quickly reminds us that God is a God of love, but he's also a God of judgment. I think sometimes we forget the other side of God. We only think about the love side. And here he quickly tells us about the characteristics, if you will, of a false prophet. They tend to defile the flesh, reject authority, and revile at things that are spiritual. And here we also recognize that he calls them ones that have gone the way of Cain, or the rebellion of Korah, and he calls them hidden reefs. He calls them ones that are like wild waves, casting the foam. He talks about them being autumn trees, which bear no fruit. And he says they're doubly dead, they're uprooted. I think the important thing to remember is what an apostate is. An apostate is one who first will attack public standards. Have we seen an attack on public standards? I think all of us would say we have. I don't know how many states it is now who acknowledge same-sex marriage. I don't think there's any doubt about us having taken a look at abortion and seeing that that's now a national law, that they can continue to abort babies. And after they attack the public standards, they tend to teach and attack private standards, that is, your personal values and your standards. And the way they do that, particularly as they try to undermine believers or those that might become believers, is they attack salvation, they attack sovereignty of God, and they attack the service of God. And we find that there are more and more cults and more religions that have gone soft on God's standards, which has wound up in being a loosening of public standards. We see more and more religions and cults attacking the personal standards and degrading those away from the standards of the scriptures. And certainly we have seen the attack on God. Salvation, well, why would a loving God let anybody go to hell? About the sovereignty of God, he's obviously not all-powerful. Why are these terrible things happening in the world, like the decapitation of a news reporter in Iraq? They attack the sovereignty of God in being all-knowing and in control of all things, and they attack the service of God. We must be careful about teachers that are apostates, that are teaching false doctrine, who have strayed from the scriptural standards, and who attack the salvation, the sovereignty, and the service of God. We must be careful that we not allow the public standards to continue to degrade and our personal standards to degrade from what God's called us to. He's called us to righteousness. Now, not that we'll ever get it perfectly, but we don't want to make it a license for misbehavior. And we certainly don't want to become a nation like Sodom and Gomorrah. Yet if you take a hard look at where our country has come in the last 10 or 15 years, we are not too far away from the depravity of Sodom and Gomorrah. We find that everything that in the past was said to be bad is now being called good and acceptable and politically correct. We need to really pray for our nation. We need to pray for our leaders. We need to pray that we will stand up against this constant apostates that are coming into this world and that are degrading the values of God. That's your thought for the day. God bless you and have a great day.